Every day, parents send their children off to school, trusting the men and women who teach, feed, and protect them to look out for those students. But the reality is, we don't know most of these people at all. School districts are chronically shorthanded, and in some cases have to hire hundreds or even thousands of people every year to fill important positions, from science teachers to bus drivers. And it seems like every week we're reporting another story about a district employee being arrested for somehow betraying that trust, preying on students in their care. Again and again, we hear parents calling for more to be done to make sure our schools are safe for every child. CBS 12 News education specialist Amber Robb has been digging into this issue. She joins us now to talk about what she's found.
I report on these awful stories all the time. Teachers, aides, coaches, counselors, crossing guards, you name it, assaulting students, selling them drugs, or otherwise taking advantage of children. And that's why we are looking into what more can be done to prevent these horrible crimes. From Palm Beach County to the Treasure Coast, we've seen school personnel facing accusations from possession of child pornography to sexual battery and soliciting students.
I mean, they're everywhere. We're averaging here, just at our county sheriff's office here, about 2 search warrants a week, enforcement action.
Sergeant Thomas McInerney heads South Florida's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, based out of the Broward County Sheriff's Office. His team is tasked with finding and taking down predators from the Keys up through Indian River County.
Sheriff's Office search warrant. Turn around. Turn around.
He says ever since the pandemic, tips relating to these types of crimes have skyrocketed.
The tips keep coming in. So, on average, like I said, on a daily basis, over 100, 200 tips a day for our task force down here. And that's just the cyber tip. That doesn't count the regular, calls for service we have. Like each agency has, normal 911 calls, or school resource officers, or just general tips coming in.
And the predators don't fit into any clear category.
I mean, they're old, they're young, they're black, they're white, they're different religious backgrounds, just your socioeconomic status. There's really no common factor, to be honest. We get doctors and lawyers, we get janitors and mechanics, we get everything. The one common thing is that most of them are males.
As we've reported, just in the last few months, there have already been 6 arrests of school employees accused of inappropriate relationships with students. Most of those cases started with messages on social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children Director Callahan Walsh says it's not unusual for predators to get jobs at schools.
That those who want to harm children will oftentimes put themselves in a position to be around children, have access to them.
And it's hard to keep them out if they don't have a criminal record.
While background checks are great, background checks only catch those who've been caught before.
Walsh says harsher punishments could help keep these predators away from children.
If they find out that, the penalties against this type of crime are years and years in prison, could absolutely deter a would-be criminal from committing that crime in the first place. So I look at the stiffer penalties as absolute deterrence.
Well, all law enforcement nationwide is always under-resourced and underfunded. ICAP's no different. It's a very expensive endeavor with the digital forensics, overwhelming amount of work. So more investigators, more funding is the biggest key.
With more funding, Sergeant McInerney says they can put away more predators, and the safer our communities become.
But you never know how many victims you save by putting one predator or pedophile behind bars and outing them,
Both Callahan and Sergeant McInerney stress the importance of parents keeping a close eye on what their children are doing on any electronic device. And they say to make sure to have conversations with your kids about what's okay and what isn't, and that no matter what happens, they can always come to you for help. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has resources for families as well. And I've added links to this story, and you can find that right now on our homepage at CBS12.com. In the studio, I'm Amber Robb, CBS 12 News.
Hi, I'm Liz Quirantes. Click like and subscribe buttons if you want to see more stories like this that impact you.